It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were.
Good morning. Welcome once again to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. What are we talking about today, Gene?
Well, we've got some very interesting stories. We're going to be talking about an issue that I think, I bet you a lot of states are dealing with this year, and that is water conservation.
Yeah.
A lot of cities throughout the country have put on a ban on watering. And we're going to be talking about a homeowners association that is telling their homeowners, you're not watering enough, and you're going to face a fine. But if they water too much, then the state will fine them. So they are in a conundrum. And so we'll talk about that.
Okay.
We are also going to be talking about an issue a little bit later, too. And this is something that happened in New Jersey. A state Supreme Court decided that a condominium association was not responsible for the sidewalk cleanup when it snowed last winter. And that was good for the association. But kind of a convoluted way or message that they're giving. And I think it's very interesting to take a look at. And then we're going to be taking a look a little bit later on, too. I think everybody knows that in a homeowners association, board members are protected under the association's D&O, Directors and Officers Insurance, for their acts. But there's an association in Illinois that is trying to get the board members out from under that protection and just suing them individually. And so we've got someone who's going to be joining us a little bit later to talk about that as well.
All right.
But it is time right now for Property Management in the News. And Property Management in the News today is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, you want to call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call, 952-894-9748. That's Pest Control Services. Well, let's begin with this story about homeowners who are in a conundrum between their homeowner association and the state over watering. Go ahead and play the clip.
There's power in high demand in these conditions. It's water as well.
Yeah, but one group of neighbors trying to follow water restrictions could soon get fined by their HOA. The 9P's Andrew Horansky is in the newsroom tonight with that story. Andrew?
Terry and Tyler, people living in the High Point community of Dripping Springs recently received these warning letters informing them that their dying yards were in violation of community regulations. Well, the problem is the LCRA won't allow them to water their lawns any more than they already are, forcing many to choose which rules to break. In the High Point community of Dripping Springs, the record summer heat has taken a toll. Many of the lawns are now brown and dry. However, there may be an HOA policy against that. Recently, several residents received letters informing them their lawns were in violation. Many, like Donna Heath, were floored.
So it's just frustrating. It's like I really don't feel like living here.
Last month, Heath said she spent $195 on water after running her sprinkler system 2 times a week. Running it anymore, she said, could have landed her a fine from the LCRA. Heath also says she spent another $100 on a lawn care service. Then the warning letter came.
You know, so that's just disturbing. It's like I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't want to break the law. But if I don't, I get fined.
Others agree.
What are you going to do? Either you follow the LCRA rules or you follow the HOA rules. And I think it's more important to follow the LCRA.
On Friday, KVUE News contacted Southwest Management Services, which works with the HOA to enforce the rules in High Point. We did not receive a reply. At this point, it is still unclear what penalty the residents of High Point could face. The letters do not say how soon they are expected to fix their lawns. Lawns which may now be a lost and expensive cause. And we should mention the LCRA does allow homeowners to water more than twice a week if they do that by hand. The High Point neighbors we talked to today say that's just too time-consuming and probably ineffective as long as this drought lasts.
Well, Tony, that's the story.
Yeah, okay.
You know, one of the things that I think is really ironic about anything else, and I don't know if it was caught on the audio here too, these folks, they're coming from, what is the name of the town again? It is Dripping Springs, Texas. You know,
Yeah.
I don't care what you say about anything else, but you should not be dealing with a water problem in a place called Dripping Springs.
I wouldn't think you would, but unless the place is just entirely misnamed.
I think probably it is.
Maybe that's it.
But what an interesting problem for homeowners.
The
huh?
horns of a dilemma. But I'm glad he added the tail end to that story because it made it all a little bit more clear. When I read this story, I thought, well, is it really that big a dilemma, or are we just getting another news story making a mountain out of a molehill? Mm-hmm. Because there's something called the hierarchy of authority, and we've talked about that in every class we ever lead, in talking to boards all the time. And that means that there's a hierarchy to the rules and what can supersede what. Mm-hmm. So, and we draw the ladder. At the top of the ladder is federal law, then state law is subsequent to federal law, community law, HOA law, HOA rules. So rules are at the bottom of that hierarchy.
Yeah.
That means they cannot contradict any rules or laws above it on the ladder.
Yeah, and to me, there's just a bunch of information that we're just not hearing about, with this story. One of the things that interests me is how come only a few of the homeowners seem to be getting that letter from the HOA?
Yeah.
How come the others aren't?
Yeah.
They're
doing something's different.
Yeah,
about
are we
their
led
lawns.
to believe that a majority of the people have a disregard for the LCRA?
And the LCRA is the Lower Colorado River Alliance, and they're the state organization that's saying there's a watering restriction.
That's right. They're the ones that control the water rights from that river, and that's where the water's coming from for Dripping Springs.
Mm-hmm. And as I said, the regulations of the LCRA probably supersede the regulations of the Homeowners Association. So in my mind, well, it's clear which rules you follow. But then at the tail end of that story, what did he add? He said that the residents that were cited by the HOA are not watering as often as this LCRA is allowing.
And so that might be the key right there.
There you go.
I did get a chance to speak before the show started with someone from the LCRA.
All right.
Her name is Clara Tuma, and she verified for us, for Where You Live, that it is indeed true that the restrictions are stating that you can't water more than twice a week, and it even goes further. It says you can't water more than 1 inch of water.
Oh, wow. How do you measure that?
That's interesting. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, twice a week, and they said the purpose is that they're in such a severe drought in that part of Texas that that this is going to do is just to preserve the grass so it just barely stays alive. They're not trying to, they're not saying there's a total ban right now, and it's not going to be lush greens.
Sure. We're not going to have a golf course here in this homeowners association, but we're going to try and save the grass so it doesn't have to be replaced.
We had that a few years ago here in the Twin Cities. And I remember there were a number, probably about 3 years ago, we had a number of different municipalities that said you can't water more than every other day.
Oh, I think every municipality right now still has a watering restriction. That started several years ago, but it hasn't ever been lifted.
But it got even more restrictive, I think, a few years ago, and there were a lot of people that had lawns that were lost. And
Yeah.
in this particular case, yes, we might be dealing with an association that's stating to these few homeowners, you're not doing that bare minimum. And we want you to do that, because the issue here, when the person who was from the homeowners association who was being questioned, she said that last month, she said, I spent $195 on water, and then the month after that, she spent $100. Well, clearly she's spending less.
It's kind of unclear what that $100 was spent on.
Yes.
I think they said on a lawn service, so I'm not sure what that has to do with watering the lawn, but
well,
it's confusing.
She seemed to think that was just for the watering. But in any case, this is the
I see.
This is the homeowner who said, I don't want to pay that much. And it's interesting that the person said, I don't want to live there anymore. And I want us to address that a little bit further here. But it looks like we need to take a break. So let's do that right now. When we come back, let's address things further with this issue of the watering ban and what a person can and can't do in an HOA and also in the municipality or city where you live. And that is only here on Where You Live. We'll be back after these messages.